Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. The feature race at Churchill Downs on Saturday is the Grade 3 Commonwealth Turf for 3-year-olds going a mile and a 16th. Let's take a peek at this field. The story of the race, Matt, the number 6, Mr. Misunderstood, 4-5 on the morning line, and deservedly so. This horse has won 6 out of his last 7. The only loss coming in the Illinois Derby. Undefeated on turf.
Yeah, he really hasn't done anything wrong for Brad Cox. It's hard to poke too many holes in this horse. He's got a tactical gear. He can be forwardly placed, doesn't have to come from 100 out of it. He's got a pretty good turn of foot. You know, I guess he's a little bit goofy and a little quirky. I didn't like that he popped back to his left lead most recently in that Jefferson Cup, but if you just look at it from a fig standpoint, he lays over this field.
He is solid, and he has been placed beautifully by Brad Cox. They've taken him along very slowly from black type stake, listed stake, now into the Grade 3 Commonwealth Turf, and he just beat 3 of these common foes last time out.
I mean, when you look at it and you say as a 2-year-old, you could have had him for 30 because they threw him into a non-winners of 2 life, and look what he's gone on to do. They've really done a good job with him.
One of the horses he beat last time out is the number 8, Giant Payday, 5-1 on the morning line for trainer Ian Wilkes. This horse won the Mystic Lake Derby coming from way off the pace. 2 starts back over yielding ground. Last time out, no match for Mr. Misunderstood. Unlike Mr. Misunderstood, he likes to come from far out of it. He might need some pace.
He's going to need some pace. I don't know that he's necessarily going to get the pace that he needs, and I have to be honest, I just look at him overall, and sure, you can take a step forward late in the year as a 3-year-old. Doesn't he just run the same race over and over, and it depends if he catches the right field? I don't think he catches the right field. As
we see from the Timeform US pace projector, he may not catch the right pace scenario either. That blue bar indicates that this race, we're expected to favor horses on or near the early lead. The number 3, Mr. Cub, is figured to make the lead. As he did last time out in the Jefferson Cup, it didn't make any difference. Mr. Misunderstood ran him over. Mr. Cub's a nice horse. He'll probably go a little bit slower this time out, but he's got to improve.
I just can't envision any scenario where he can turn the tables and make up that many lengths. I think he's going to go out there and he's going to dictate the pace. I have a hard time seeing anyone else from that Jefferson Cup coming back and turning the tables.
Parlor's always hinted at being a stakes horse. The problem is every time they step him up into stakes or greater stakes competition, he's left wanting. He was a little bit disappointing, I thought, last time out in an allowance race at Keeneland. I know there wasn't a ton of pace. He tried to make a big wide move into it, but he only finished evenly, and like the number 8 Giant Payday, I just don't see the improvement on the Beyer scale.
Especially when it looked like on that far turn that he was going to put in some sort of bid, and really when the real running started, he offered nothing. You and I have been disappointed with this horse. We liked him early on, and he'd run down at Tampa, and we thought maybe there were going to be some good things for him. I just don't think he's ever gotten any better.
My Barrelly killed me last time out in the Hawthorne Derby. I really loved Blue Sky Cowboy, who made this big wide move, and it looked like in mid-stretch he was on his way to win at a nice price. But My Barrelly relished that soft ground, and he got a great trip and ride. He shot down through the inside and just kind of stole the race away from Blue Sky Cowboy. This is a horse that really would appreciate cutting the ground.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I guess against better horses, he needs that cut in the ground. It's not that he's incapable of winning over firm going, but I do wonder if he's just slightly, or even better just overall, on ground with a little bit of give in it.
There are 2 horses coming out of the synthetic Ontario Derby, a Grade 3 race at Woodbine on October the 15th. That's Gorgeous Kitten, the number 5, Tis a Slam, the number 7. And you could argue they're both going in different ways leading up to this turf race. Gorgeous Kitten, you could argue, is a turf horse that really didn't appreciate the synth last time out in the Ontario Derby, and he didn't run very well. Tis a Slam, you could argue, is a synthetic horse who's now going to try to replicate that form on turf.
Yeah, I think Tis a Slam is a more talented horse, just at the raw ability standpoint. I wonder, though, a little bit. I went back, I looked at that Centaur down at Indiana 2 starts back. I thought it was terrible. I just didn't think he picked his feet up at any point. And then all of a sudden he gets back up to Woodbine, and he looks really, really strong. He really never looked like a loser in that race. On the flip side, I guess my crazy argument for Gorgeous Kitten is you go through his PPs and say, you know what, Synth didn't like it. He also doesn't want to be forwardly placed. You go to the run 2 starts back, 1 mile and 5/16 too far. 1.25 miles, 3 starts back against better horse than the Secretariat. Then all of a sudden you're left with the American Derby at 1 mile and 1/8, and he ran well enough. Tried to run down a 3-5 shot on the front end. Sonic Boom didn't work out. I just kind of feel like this is probably what he wants to do. Having said that, still don't think he's good enough.
Since the turf angle has worked in the past for Gorgeous Kitten, winning his entry-level allowance at Keeneland during their spring meet. Down towards the rails, the big long shot. That's Sharm El Sheikh, 50-1 on the morning line. Beat 2 next out dirt winners in his most recent start on the turf at Keeneland. Sort of an even performance. Something tells me they're going to try to show some speed here down towards the inside.
Only chance that he has to be any sort of factor in this race is to move him early on. I have to be honest. You look at him, I just think he is in way over his head.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Grade 3 Commonwealth Turf Stakes. Mr. Misunderstood, way, the horse to beat.
Yeah, chalk for me. It's one of those instances where I'd love to try to get cute, and I guess my big price in this spot would be Gorgeous Kitten, but having said that, I couldn't convince myself that Gorgeous Kitten's good enough to turn the tables.
You make very fair points about Tiz Slam probably being a little bit better on a synthetic surface, second in the Queen's Plate, won the Ontario Derby over the Queen's Plate winner last time out. And while his recent turf races haven't exactly been inspiring, he's proven on the surface. He did win the Cup and Saucer as a 2-year-old going 1 mile and a 16th on the lawn. I'm hoping that he has enough tactical speed to at least stay within range of Mr. Misunderstood. Robbie Alvarado, very underrated sharp jockey, maybe goes with Mr. Misunderstood and tries to at least put a little bit of a battle. I like him at the 1 mile and an 1/8. I wonder if maybe that's the great equalizer. You mentioned Mr. Misunderstood, a little goofy, popping back to it. He won at 1 mile and an 1/8 last time out. At this 1 mile and a 16th, I think Tiz Slam's got a shot.
Tiz Slam, I think, is the alternative in this spot. I think from a talent standpoint, he is right there. I just think he's not quite as good on this surface.
6, 5, 7, 8 for Matt. I'll go with the 7, Tiz Slam, and the Commonwealth Turf, the feature race at Churchill Downs on Saturday. Good luck.